if you can hear me well. But breaking news. Now, the culprits that violated Professor Madhuku and some of his colleagues have been caught. Um, the information was released a few minutes ago, and I just want to keep you up to speed with what's currently going on. I hope you guys are doing great. All right, so I know some of you, it's your first time to pass through this channel. Please, guys, subscribe. Make sure that you ring the bell so at least every time I'm live, you'll be robbed right here. I want to say also to those that are always joining me, shout out to you. Please don't forget to thumbs up and share the video with others. This is quite important. This information is crucial. If you guys look at the thumbnail, you'll be able to see the pictures of the guys that were sent by Kuda Tagwirei to assault or to attack Professor Madhuku. I've always been saying Kuda Tagwirei is not leadership material, and people think that I'm crazy. And I also told you last time that Kuda Tagwirei will be worse than Mnangagwa because he learned from the best. You know, here's the deal. Mnangagwa was desperate to actually, appoint, or I can't say appoint, but he's desperate to anoint just anybody. He wants someone that he can control, someone who can be able to protect his children, someone who can be able to also protect the money that he has stolen, the assets that he's stolen. You know that almost like the whole Zimbabwe is being owned by Mnangagwa and his children. So he's desperate. Unfortunately, the country is not your handbag where you can decide who you should be anointing or who you don't anoint. So he's definitely conflicted. He's under pressure. He doesn't know what to do. But the fact remains that Kuda Tagwirei will never be the president of Zimbabwe. That I can tell you. He will never. In fact, that guy will be behind bars. Now that you can all see that he's the one behind all the violence. I've always said this. Criminals in Zimbabwe are behind the violence that's going on because that's the only way they can be able to survive. So are we going to keep watching and entertain such characters under the guise of, oh, nobody, we just want a leader? Or somebody said because we want someone young. That was Akino, that was Temba Mliswa. No, we need a younger generation. But we are always having Chamisa as a younger generation that Mnangagwa never wanted to be the leader. So when you talk about the younger generation, don't take us like we are foolish. Who's younger, Kuda Tagwirei and Chamisa? I think Chamisa is younger than Kuda Tagwirei, right? But anyway, besides the point, what I'm trying to say is that Kuda Tagwirei does not have qualities of a leader. Look, he's the one behind Professor Madhuku. So we're going to be looking at the documents that were leaked, which was from the intelligence in Zimbabwe, that were presented before Mnangagwa. So Mnangagwa, either he's going to act or he doesn't, but of course we know he's not going to act because he's the one that have taught these guys. They've learned from the best. I don't know if you guys still remember what Tinashe said when he said Kuda Tagwirei normally sit down with Mnangagwa every Tuesday, talking about Mnangagwa's businesses, updating him about, all their shenanigans. So in other words is that for me, I'm seeing Kuda Tagwirei, Mnangagwa's kids and all these Vanawiki, being the de facto leaders currently. No wonder why we never, no peace. They spend money like never before. It's their parties, their hoarding, it's this splash of cash, US dollars, the spending of luxury lifestyles. It's ma koro, you call the choir koro that they do at SDA church. They're spending millions of dollars. It is sad, but in a country where people are languishing in poverty, and we all know that, Kuda Tagwirei is behind the loot that's normally happening. I've told you many times. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start presenting you with information, and I'm talking about documents to see when we say Kuda Tagwirei is a criminal, when we say Kuda Tagwirei is behind all the loot that's going on in Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa fronts him. Okay, no, Mnangagwa fronts him. Definitely, yeah. Of course. So he does all the dirty work for most of Mnangagwa, because Mnangagwa is a president. If you just do something and put Mnangagwa as a surname, people can easily pick it up. And Mnangagwa as a president, he can find himself in trouble. So he needs people who can do all this dirty work. And then he knows that, but under the helm, it's him and his shenanigans. Anyway, let's look at those documentation that were leaked like just a few minutes ago on Twitter. Let me say this because many people don't actually know that The reason why this information is correct is the information is being released from reliable sources, and the reasons are clear. They have most of these criminals have taken over the newspapers in the country. They've taken over media in the country. So the only way people can communicate is via social media. You all remember that even when Comrade Gezame, you saw rest in peace, we're having pressers, that was arrested. Meaning that there is no way people can communicate, information can be communicated. I'm talking about correct, not propaganda, correct information. So this information I'm giving now, that is the correct one, not all the lies you hear from the streets. So let's look at let's look at these documents now that have been released. I'm just gonna zoom a bit here. All right, so the subject to the documents that have been released now is Zimbabwe's succession crisis and violence unleashed on Professor Lovemore Madhuku. That was second yesterday. Multiple sources, humid, sinning, and finning, and also for the Zimbabwe leadership guarantors, hand via secure channels only. So this assessment confirms the critical escalation in the threat matrix facing the Republic of Zimbabwe. Businessman Kuda Tagwirei, operating a cartel angered by his elusive close ally, Julius Mapingura, aka Shumba Mopostori, and advised by fugitive Professor Jonathan Moyo, has initiated phase 2 of their constitutional coup following the serious threat of a legal collapse of phase 1. Seeing the prospects to great power, the presidents via the proposed constitutional amendment number 3, supposedly being done for the president Emerson Mnangagwa, but in reality for themselves. Dwindling and facing a crushing defeat from the war veterans' legal challenge being led by Professor Lovemore Madhuku, the cartel has now deployed a rogue, privatized military to neutralize any opposition to the proposed constitutional amendment number 3. They have now specifically targeted the legal team led by Professor Lovemore Madhuku, representing the war veterans, and he's organized the National Constitutional Assembly. This act of violence constitutes a direct provocation of the opposition and war veterans. Intelligence indicates that the cartel, learning from the failed 2017 G40 power grab during the Robert Mugabe succession fight, he has been systematically working to capture and decapitate the military command structure to prevent a repeat of the November 2017 intervention. And which I completely also agree. Guys, there have been conversation that we have paro structures in the country, and which includes paro structures within the military, paro structures in the police as well, and then paro structure within the gangs that are protecting most of these criminals. And by the way, I don't know if you guys remember when I mentioned the article that was written by Newsworks when they spoke to the fact that when Mnangagwa took over power from Mugabe, he never went after Mugabe's family. Do you guys recall that? All right, I just want you to. That's just a side note. You also know that when the war veterans came out and they spoke to the criminals, you never saw Mnangagwa's name there. You never saw the children of Mnangagwa there. But we all know that these guys are simply just fronting Emerson Mnangagwa. But I'm just wanting, these are just side notes, okay? So just keep that in mind as we move along. So there's a lot of people that are committing crimes under the guise of police. Some of them in the military as well. I think you also remember what Kuda Tagwirei said, that when you've got the money, you can have power, And also, I've listened to Atemba Mliso, who spoke to the very same sentiments. You need money in order for you to have power. I've heard Lumumba as well, who's pushing the campaign for Kuda Tagwirei. He keeps on saying Kuda Tagwirei can write the check. He's got the money. He can do whatever he wants. So this is all about the money they've looted from Zimbabwe that they are now using against its people. These guys need to be behind bars. They need to be behind bars. I don't even know why we're actually wasting our time. That's why I've said Mnangagwa is just a waste of time. He is a waste of time. Because imagine as a president and you're being controlled by criminals. Not only that, you're protecting them. So what are you actually doing? So now you want 2030 to propose the very same modus operandi to keep Zimbabweans in poverty? Yeah, that's not going to happen. Anyway, let's move on. They also said the red line has been crossed. It is assessed that this unity that can it take a response from war veterans, opposition, and within ZANU-PF and other key state institutions is not merely probable, but inevitable and imminent. The state is at elevated risk of plunging into widespread chaos due to ill-conceived and ill-intended proposed constitutional amendment number 3. Strategic, the collapse of phase 1. The cartel's original strategy relied on the passage of the proposed constitutional amendment number 3. Analysis confirms the bill was designed to facilitate an unconstitutional power grab by extending the president's term for 5 to 7, which we know, abolishing direct presidential elections, transferring voter registration to the Registrar General. I think that is not even important. We all know this information. But I think in general, what they're saying is that these guys are targeting Madhuku because Madhuku is representing the war veterans who are challenging Emmerson Mnangagwa that he cannot preside over his administration. How do you, as a president, that you are still serving your term under the current constitution, now you want to change the very same constitution to suit you in future? It's just wild. But Mnangagwa, I don't think he actually cares about the rule of law. Mnangagwa cares about violence. I mean, that's all that he relies on. I mean, you know what happened in Gukurahundi, which reminds me that for me, who was born in 1983, like Gukurahundi happened in 1983, right? And now fast forward in 2026, this is like 43 years later, we're still talking about the very same man who was also part and parcel of those that spearheaded the violence in Matabeleland. We need to introspect. I think Professor Madhuku said the very same thing, that the last time I was in the hospital was in 2017 when I was actually being beaten again when we were fighting during the time they fought with ZANU-PF under the leadership of Tagwirei. Fast forward, here again, is Professor Madhuku is in hospital at the Avenues again because of violence. That for me worries me a lot. And that's why you heard me when I said I expected Chiwenga to condemn violence immediately. I guess these reports that are coming out, it's actually them communicating that we do not agree with what's currently going on. I think I saw another report from Nick Mangwana, who said that wasn't necessary. Why did you send gangs to go in and hurt the people? What was that about? You know? But I'm just happy that Professor Madhuku is being vindicated. Because during the day I was like, I just want to say thank you to him. His commitment, after all the beating yesterday, the assault yesterday, he was able to come back again today, with so much conviction and strength. It was just so amazing. The grace, really, sometimes we take people for granted. We don't even know how much sacrifice they make. And I just want us guys to just be grateful. Really, we need to be grateful. But those guys, now you guys can see the pictures are on my thumbnail right now of those guys who went and hit Professor Madhuku. It was so quick. I've always been saying, Zimbabwean police don't play games. And by the way, I must also send some shout out to also communities, because the guy that killed two CIO guys in Zaka, may their souls rest in peace. The police intelligence guys. The guy was caught today again by the community. Look what people are doing. In Zimbabwe, you can't commit crime. Police Zimbabwe, top class. Except, like in this situation, let me tell you what was going to happen here. If we're not in the era that we are in right now, where people are saying we are tired of concealing evil, now we want it to be known. Just imagine if it was then, when people get beaten, abducted, tortured, and killed. No one says a word because they're afraid. People are afraid. But here we are today that it's so quick we know. I just hope this continues. So that then the young people who are overzealous, I saw another vigilante group again today threatening Manatenda and so forth and say we are mafia from Mnangagwa and all manner of nonsense. And I know it's poverty. They get brainwashed, used to do the dirty work for criminals. And another thing that makes me happy is that now we all can see our problem is not politics, it's criminality that has been concealed or embraced for many years. And now it's becoming culture. And the very same criminals are now being caught in bingers. They always give millions. I saw recently that Wikinochiva gave a president of Malawi. He went to a charity that was being officiated by the wife of the president of Malawi. And he gave out another million. Another million. Where is he working? Where is he getting the money? Is the money that's being looted from Zimbabweans and then gets used to buy favors from different SADC leaders so that when nonsense happens in Zimbabwe, these guys can just not saying a word. That's how criminals work. I keep on teaching you this. My young people, let me say this, they are watching you. I'm telling you because you think I'm joking. They're watching you. They have your details. Some of you will be arrested. Mnangagwa is going to go. Mnangagwa will go. There's immunity sometimes that come with him being just a president. And here you are just Pompiadona from somewhere being used. You go to prison for life. For the men who will be maybe dead, going to hell, burning in hell. Be wise, be smart, don't be stupid. Young people, don't be used by criminals. Stay away from these things. You've got a bright future. You can do better than this. So the rogue military that was hired by Kuda Tagwirei, like he said, the money, guys, mariri kupiwa vano. Mariri kupiwa vano, Zimbabweans are utora mari. You know, yesterday when we were having a conversation, after the Professor Madhuku's demise, we were having a conversation, and I actually said to many people that you see today, some of them don't even like Emmerson Mnangagwa, don't even like the region, don't even like even Kuda Tagwirei, but because they've taken the money, they have to do the dirty work. It's poverty that is playing a huge role in our country. But sometimes you have to sacrifice, because I can tell you, many people you see today in the diaspora have sacrificed a lot. I always said, I wish some of our people in Zim can understand that people have sacrificed a lot in the diaspora, a lot. Some that you see today, we are managers, started sweeping. It was patience. You also can be patient. There's no overnight success. It is a journey. Okay, it is a journey. I'm glad that finally now we are holding Kuda Tagwirei by the word, by the call. I can't say some nonsense. I swear to God. So they are facing and worried about legal defeat from the war veterans. A legal challenge led by Professor Madhuku, Tagwirei and Shumba under the advice of Jonathan Moyo have activated a paro security apparatus to violently counter any opposition to the proposed constitutional amendment number 3, and is led and run by the following. Who are these guys? A Captain Albert Tizwa, a captain in the military intelligence department, MIO, under the presidential guard. His involvement indicates the cartel has penetrated the president's inner security cordon. Wow. This violence serves a dual purpose: to intimidate the legal opposition into withdrawing the constitutional court challenge, and to signal to the broader populace that dissent will be met with lethal force. And I guess that's what Professor Madhuku was addressing today, that do not lie, do not listen to the lies that the constitutional court will afford Mnangagwa extension. It's not going to happen. Guys, there's a lot to lose here. Many people are going to lose jobs. Many people are going to be arrested. This is not some form of a joke, guys. The military is against 2030. Okay, Mnangagwa came in power on the bedrock of the military. So there is no way you can come here and decide that I can give myself more time. I'm just saying, they are against 2030. They don't want to hear about 2030. So honestly, common sense will show you that he is not going to succeed. So there's no amount of buying that can happen, amount of money that people can take. By the way, some people are taking money, but they know that they disagree with him. They're just doing it just because, you know what? Okay. Cheers. When you're dealing with idiots, that's what you do. You play stupid. Oh, yeah. Because some people think they're smart. They can get away with everything. No, you play stupid when dealing with idiots. That's all I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, for real. Anyway, I think the last part of the report that we are reading, the strategic threat, the Jonathan Moyo doctrine, and attempt to military capture and decapitation. The Tagwirei cartel, angered by his elusive close ally Julius Mapingura, aka Shumba, already this one, isn't it? And advised by the fugitive, which is Jonathan Moyo, has over the past 24 months been working on their strategy to bypass the succession matrix and grab power from themselves from the ailing and soon to complete his 2 terms limit. President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Jonathan Moyo has intensely been studying the mistakes he made in his initial quest to grab the presidents away from Emmerson Mnangagwa for his chosen faction, then G40. He has been applying these lessons learned from that failure, and the objective is no longer just political control, but the surgical weakening and capture of the military as an institution to prevent it from acting as a check on executive power. I think that was also noted in Mnangagwa's new constitution that they want to introduce Zimbabweans, that the military should stay away from politics. But you came via the you came via the military. No, you don't want that military to do nothing. You see, I've been saying the level of disrespect of Emmerson Mnangagwa needs to be studied. I think we should let children study Mnangagwa's character from primary to school to secondary. This one here, for us to be able to build a strong brand for Zimbabwe, a strong identity, we need to teach our children to be mindful of people of this character and caliber. Because wow, I'm busy studying Shaka Zulu. Okay, because I've been like, no, man, something's wrong in our country. So I'm busy studying Shaka Zulu. He wasn't a great man, but man, one thing you can't take away from him is that he built a strong, powerful brand for the Zulus. The reason why Zimbabweans we are in this mess today is because we are divided. We've lost an identity. I mean, are we Zimbabweans? What do we stand for? Absolutely nothing. It's just chaos because criminals took over or they infiltrated the state pre-1980. That reminds me to what Thabo Mbeki said. He said, we thought we won the war, but we actually won a battle. So winning a battle, we know we were heavily infiltrated. And then the war is still on. Zimbabwe should say the same thing. Imagine 40-something years, we are worse than the way that we were. Meaning, our fathers were heavily infiltrated by criminals. It shows today. This has been a long game played by Emmerson Mnangagwa, some of his bodies, for decades. Vana Mudenda was supposed to be arrested during the Willowgate scandal, is at the forefront of mutilating our constitution. That is the problem we need to resolve. Vana Ziyambi, Varuku protect my fake prophets who are committing heinous crimes in the country. He's protecting my drug cartels. As said, criminals, some of them are foreigners, they're not Zimbabweans, are coming to Zimbabwe to steal the country and do as they please. That's what we need to stop. That's why I said I'm studying Shaka Zulu to understand how did he build such a powerful, strong brand. Because there's no way we can lose Zimbabwe because we are about to lose our country to criminals. These are simply criminals. Just imagine Zimbabweans waking up in Kuda Tagwirei is your president. I want you to just imagine, okay? Imagine it. A man who has been behind violence for decades. You wake up in view. Guys, it's like whoa! We said we moved from the pot into the fire during the Mugabe to Mnangagwa. If you think that Tagwirei can, guys, I don't know what we'll be like moving from the fire to hell. I swear, if you have never seen hell, you will feel how hell feels in Zimbabwe because of this man. These are criminals who are supposed to go to prison. It's very clear. What was the point of sending gangs to go and hurt Professor? It has to be stopped. And you gangs, if you are listening to me, your time is coming. We're very close. We're very close. Anyway, you guys tell me what to think in the comment section. I just wanted to keep you up to speed with what's currently going on. You don't have to be left behind. We're together in this thing until we cross. Fear not. We're good. We're not afraid of criminals. We've dealt with the huge one. Chill. Relax. I love you guys. Bless you and bless Zimbabwe. Don't forget to thumbs up the video and share with others. Bye for now.